Leaders in Sandusky say their city is likely to take one of the bigger financial hits of any city in the state thanks to the coronavirus pandemic. The still closed Cedar Point amusement park generates nearly 20% of Sandusky's annual budget. And our 5 on Your Side investigator Joe Paganakis learned a reopen date for Cedar Point is still uncertain.
Rob, Cedar Point says it's working hard to be ready to reopen as soon as it gets the green light from state and federal leaders. Still, Sandusky city manager says COVID-19 delays in the beginning of the 2020 Cedar Point season have his city already facing a 35% drop in revenue over the past month. And he says this is just the beginning.
There's nothing that we could have done to be prepared for an episode of this magnitude.
Sandusky City Manager Eric Wobser praised Cedar Point's efforts in staying ready to reopen during the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. But he says with the city relying on $24 million in Cedar Point admission and hotel taxes, Sandusky's 10% reduction in its operating budget won't be enough to avoid deep cuts in city services in the coming months.
But the next round of cuts that we have to make are absolutely going to impact every service that we provide to the city.
I mean, the house is on fire. And the question is, what are we going to do?
Sandusky City Commission Vice President Dennis Murray says Cedar Point plays a huge role in generating 4 million annual visitors. And if the park doesn't reopen, the city and region could face the loss of some $400 million in spin-off business revenue. Murray said 2 out of 3 fire stations and other crucial city services could be shut down.
If Cedar Point doesn't open, we'll be down at least 40%.
Murray says federal aid to cities hardest hit by the coronavirus impact is the only way Sandusky can avoid massive city service cuts. And he says even if or when the park reopens, revenue from Cedar Point will be significantly reduced for 3 key reasons.
It's going to be late for certain. 2, they've indicated if they do open, they have to space people out and reduce the number of patrons of the park. And 3rd, it's really not clear to what extent folks are going to be comfortable coming to the park.
And Sandusky's city manager says 18 non-emergency services positions have already been eliminated from the city budget. But despite all of this, he remains optimistic Sandusky will find other sources of revenue and reduce the economic impact in the coming months. I'm 5 on Your Side investigator Joe Paganakis.